Committees. Had an opportunity. Go ahead.
Is that two for you?
Just item 2.
Moving on.
Committees. I had an opportunity to discuss with our city attorney the use of our committees. And I know several of us have talked, individually about this, but in the past we had a committee. The committees, well, we still have committees. The committees are made up of 2 city council members. We have a street committee, we have a water and wastewater committee, police committee, park and recs, and personnel committee. And it's under my opinion that these are only committees, since there's only 2 people from the council. As people bring things to the council in terms of a question on their water bill or question on sewer or streets or whatever, what we've done in the past is we've taken that and we've sent it to the appropriate committee. The committee then meets with the citizen and talks over whatever that is, and then they bring that back to the council. They don't have any decision authority. They bring that back to the council and say this is what they've done, make a recommendation, and the council decides what they want to do. That way, things don't just wait for every council meeting. We can keep things going all the time, and it's probably a better way to service our community and our citizens. I know there was some concern about that being a formal meeting and having to post an agenda or whatever. Aaron doesn't agree with that, and he does not think we have to post an agenda. He thinks we can go ahead and have those meetings. He said it was good practice to go ahead and take minutes, so you have minutes of what's happening in those meetings. But the decision body, the authority, comes back to the council. That's where all the decisions are reached. There are no decisions reached in these committees. Yeah. So therefore, what I recommend is, and I'll share that with you, what I'll recommend is that we continue on with our committees. I know we have designations here. We'll just keep the designations until we deal with the mayor's job. Just keep them the way that they are. But as things come in, I will work with Marilyn to just get them to the appropriate committee and keep the business of the community moving forward. So, and I'll share that opinion.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I like the opportunity to move things forward without, going to formal meetings. We've talked about this. I also think we could probably streamline it by making that available. Try to reach out and request things, not necessarily, there's not a funnel to access of the council. It doesn't have to go through a gatekeeper. It doesn't have to come through one person. There's not one address that we all have, that it can come to each of us. And if this information was posted and available, half the time I've forgotten over the years who's on what. Some of them are more active than others at times. That if they're not as active, us, let alone the public, may not recall who's on what council or on what committee, and it would streamline their efforts to come to those folks first.
Absolutely.
Formally approach them, approach us individually, collectively as committee members. You're not limited to that. And again, I'd like to stress that these committees don't limit the public to going to any council member on any topic, but it certainly would streamline things. At least that's a starting point, and I agree with that approach.
The third would be, the third topic is really, and I haven't had a chance to talk with Marilyn a lot on this. I've mentioned it to her. You can see there's more information coming out all the time. My goal would be, at least in this interim period, to get the information out to council members as it comes in. Kind of what you just said, Skip. Whether it's directly into these committee meetings or they come directly to you. So, what I would like to propose is continue to work with Marilyn as I have been. As things come in, get them copied or scanned into the system and get them out to all of us as quickly as possible. At that point, what we're recommended, as we know from our city attorney, is that we don't hit reply all to everybody, but that we would just respond back to Marilyn, and Marilyn can take those responses and look at those questions that we have or whatever we need to do. And then Marilyn, we got to work on this, and I'll probably have to work with this more than she at the beginning. We would take that data and information, those questions that everybody has, hopefully get some research done on that, and then there would be like a clerk's report at the council meeting that we would go through and say, this information was emailed in or scanned in, however the information got here. We had questions on that, you had questions on that, we did some research, looked into that, here's kind of what it is. Or you did some research, looked into it, emailed back to her to get to everybody else. It's kind of a clearinghouse, if you will. And then there are just information purposes that we should be discussing more here in this meeting versus just what we have to discuss. To keep, again, the business of the community moving forward. Don't know if I made myself real clear on that, but.
The only clarification I would have is we've got to be careful about if those questions come back as in opinions. You know, I think we should do this, I think we should do that. We've got to be careful that we don't, if it's information or a question, that's probably appropriate. But in the past, we've walked the line of, hey, does everybody want to, or is this okay? What's everybody's take on this? We got to be careful not to step over that line of.
I wouldn't suggest that, because that's what the council members or the meetings are for. But what it is for is information coming. Something goes out, we have information. Now it's going to be easier if we kind of re-engage the committees, like the Department of Transportation, that sort of thing, where they went in and did the sidewalks on the corners. That should have gone to the street committee right away. Street committee researched that or whatever, came back to council and said, here's what we need to do, had conversations, here's our recommendation, whatever that is. Yeah, it should just be information purposes only. If there's additional research that needs to be done, then we can assign that research to whoever. But yeah, we're not saying here's our opinion what we need to be doing.
With the ease and the new technology we have with that scanner, I think maybe we can clarify. I would still like to see things as they come in, whether it's my specific committee I'm on or not. If I'm not on the streets job, I still like to know that there's maybe some budget money we're on the hook for, or something like that. I think we could go collectively, maybe at the top, it could be addressed to the two committee members and CC everybody
Oh, I
else.
agree.
Okay.
Everything that we get in should go to
I just
all
want to clarify.
all
It sounded like
members,
it.
but then assigned to a particular committee to research, to your point.
Okay.
Right. And I think you've seen over the last couple of weeks or so, we're trying to get more information out through the emails and scanning that in and what have you. Obviously, Merlin's time doesn't have a lot of time, so we're trying to get it out as quickly as we can. So that way it's out there, people understand if they got questions, those sorts of things. Merlin can broker those and we can get more information so we're more informed and make better decisions when we do meet in our meetings. And the fourth item is just around the agendas. So I'm not necessarily for sure how that worked previously, but I would just say I'm interested in feedback and information on what you would like to see on the agenda. And let's go end of day Wednesday before the council meeting. That gives us Thursday and Friday to get that all put together.
If we've got anything we want on.
Right.
Yeah, that was in that Des Moines procedures. I like that there and sent out. Do we need to formally do any of that in place? I know they have their procedures. I don't know if that was a formal resolution or just their bylaws.
I think we need to look at all of our procedures probably at some point, but this is just how we want to get more feedback on the agenda is what I want, in the short term here at least.
Yeah, I like that.
So the Wednesday, end of day, before the Monday council.
And that includes citizens.
Yeah, right, anybody. So 5 o'clock, we'll say Wednesday before the Monday council meeting. Oh, and there was one other, the committees, I had /boards. The boards are boards, they do have to have an open meeting laws, they have to post agendas, that sort of thing. I do believe we have some vacant seats on our boards. On the zoning, is it planning and zoning? We have 2 people? We need 2 people, okay. So I would suggest if we know anybody on planning and zoning or have an interest in planning and zoning.
Me too, you said?
We need 2 on planning and zoning. And I don't know, we probably need to date our information to Maryland, just so we know what we're working with here. But
Which one was it that Randy was gonna take?
I think planning and zoning, I was gonna talk to Randy about that.
Date as far as when people came on, and
Yeah, and then secondly, just when was the last time this was
that was
updated?
printed, there's no date at the
I
bottom.
can pull one from 1997.
Got it.
So, yeah, okay. I'm sure it is. Okay.
There's one that has all the dates on it.
And is there any other openings, Marilyn, that you're aware of? I know I'm hitting you cold here, so I apologize. Board of Appeals, I believe, has 5, and we only have 4 there, so, right, and we have 1 park board member open. Yep, I can't count. We have to have 7, and there's 5 here. And 1 on board adjustments or appeal. No, board of adjustments, it's board of appeals, right? We need 1 more. We can get that out. We'll get that out of writing, so it's a little bit more clear. But planning and zoning is 2, board of appeals is 1, park board is 2. It's just 1?
We have 6.
Who wrote this?
Curtis, Maxine, Gary, Tom, Jerome, myself, and Brittany.
Oh, you're not in here.
Brittany.
Right,
Brittany's-
right. So we only need 1, that's right. Jerome was the last one that was appointed at a later time.
What'd you say for the board of people who not two?
1. That's fine. That's all I have for comments. Agenda item 16 is citizens' questions and comments.
Agenda item 4.
Okay, I was going to go for the comments, but I can do it here. Let's go citizens' questions and comments. We're going to do the other after that, while we're giving us time to review this.
So just so I clarify this, because I just want to make sure that you know that in addition to what I told you is I applied for a variance. I went through all the legal things to try and make this right with you guys. And, you know, I applied for a variance and they decided not to adjudicate it, saying they couldn't adjudicate usage. There's recently been a Supreme Court case where they, not only it's Oglesburg versus Spirit Lake, that says not only do they adjudicate usage, they're mandated. It's a state constitutional issue. But the guys on the variance committee were nice, and they said, go get a zoning change, as if that would solve my problem. I applied for a zoning change within a week of that meeting. I've not heard anything in 4 months. Now, my good friend, Gary Googie, when he was approached by the zoning committee saying, hey, go get zoned agriculture, he had it like that. So there's something going on here that's not amenable to the average citizen getting due process. And I just want to make sure you understand, if nobody makes a motion of saying what you just said, Ms. Clark, then I not only am getting cited on Wednesday, but if what happened to the Johnsons is the precedent, even if I got rid of my chickens Thursday, I would be taken to court at your tax dollars. So you have to somebody needs to make a motion, in my opinion, to pass a moratorium on this. Otherwise, this chain of events starts going down. And if that's what you want, that's fine. But I mean, you know, I was with the Marine Corps for a number of years, and they said, never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, and the pig likes it. I mean, we don't want to do this, and we just don't want to do this, and I'm just asking for some help here. So thank you. I don't think I turned that on.
So I will say this, I actually was going through some information after the last council meeting, which was my first council meeting as mayor pro tem. I did come across a letter dated January 15th, 2013, from Judson Frisk, saying that he represented your family and that you wanted to go in front of the planning and zoning. And I don't know, for whatever reason, it was not ever acted on. You are correct. So we are going to expedite that and get that going ASAP. But you are exactly right. I have a copy of it right here.
So in the meantime, what is she supposed to do about coming up source? What's going to happen to her? What are we gonna do about that?
Well,
She's never had a chance to go before the zoning.
She has.
You guys agreed at one of the meetings that you were not gonna do anything with your chickens until after Johnson.
you need to go ahead and, we're still in citizens question comments here, so.
Mike Johnson, business owner in Logan, not a resident. At one of the meetings, when you guys were discussing this, you had talked about not doing anything with Dr. Heap's chickens until the Johnson case was heard. Last council meeting, Nick brought up why somebody hasn't got cited, so that's why things got cited again. But there was, like I say, a discussion at one point where they weren't going to do anything with hers until this one was decided on.
Okay, Jim Edelman, 201 Northland Avenue. Not sure where I want to start. I find myself, obviously, I agree a lot with Dr. Heath, and I support the Johnsons on getting their chickens. But I think one of the problems going on in this town, and ironically in this nation, is accountability. And nobody is taking accountability, and nobody is holding anybody accountable. The Johnsons made a decision for 5 years to have chickens illegally, possibly without even knowing they were doing it, okay? Now, if I'm going through a town and I'm going over the speed limit, I get issued a citation. I can fight it in court or I can pay it. But I don't say I don't agree with that speed limit, so now I'm not gonna pay the ticket, okay? I then would pay it and go through the process of, that's the wrong speed limit for this area. And I would ask for it to be changed, having already paid the ticket. There doesn't need to be a big prosecution here. There doesn't need to be continuances and lawyers. We pay the fee and we go through the process. They actually have support in what they want to do. This whole thing throughout this whole community is all about the process in which things are being done and the manner in which people are holding themselves above the law and above, just in contempt. You know, it's all about process as far as I'm concerned. It's all about the fact that we have chickens when it's against the ordinances and it's okay for a few people. We have wrongful terminations, you know, and we have lawsuits about that. We're just not, everything that has happened has been easily correctable and amendable if we just stick to our proper city ordinances and our proper procedures to handle those. There's no reason that the Johnsons could not have had chickens for Savannah. There's no reason that the Heaps could not have chickens. There's no reason for that. But let's do the process. You know, when they kicked it back, that shit came right back to the council, who should have sent it right to zoning. We're dropping the ball at every turn. And then everybody's getting all emotional about it, and we're having arguments, and we're having lawyers, and we're having all this stuff. And it's just, let's hold ourselves accountable. Let's take the proper procedures and the proper actions. Let's get past this stuff. The other thing I want to ask is, I want a clarification on some questions that were asked during citizens' questions and comments that you answered, Mike. And the vague answer has had people make comments to me. I think Bill DeWitt asked a question about lawyers' fees and why we're increasing $10,000 and all that. And your comment was because of all the lawsuits. And I've had people direct to me, well, that was directed at Bill because of litigation, and they're suing the city and all this and that. Has Bill DeWitt or Logan Citizens for Change had any litigation, any fees caused the city for lawyers?
I know.
Because you cited lawsuits. What specifically lawsuits are the city involved in right now?
Involved, Winthrop versus the city.
Winthrop versus the city.
Right.
Is there any others? Okay, so it's over the termination of Angela. Okay, I just wanted a specific clarified answer because I didn't know how to answer that.
I would also say, because we're short in City Hall, we only have one person working at City Hall as well. We don't have the years of experience we've had in the past as well, so we're relying on the city attorney to answer more questions for us as well too, as a city and a community.
Why aren't we hiring somebody qualified to help us figure it out? Any reason why we haven't?
Can you just at least, you don't need to get up and state your name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Jerome Mackey, and I guess I'm sitting here just thinking about why it's been, several months that this has been on your agenda and stuff, and I just wonder why we haven't went ahead and tried to get somebody to help this lady out. I thought we would have a long time. But maybe not.
No, that's certainly something we need to do and want to do. And that was a discussion we had as far as going into closed session with Vicki.
John Espen Miller, 414 North 3rd Avenue. I do agree wholeheartedly with Jim Edelman's comments. I think they're well stated and a large amount of common sense there in regards to following the process and get past this. And Jim, I thank you for your comments on that. I think it was a breath of fresh air. I don't think anyone in this room, and I think probably 99.9% of the citizens in this community would have any objections to Savannah Johnson having chickens. This community is a very compassionate community, and if there had simply been a request to this community early on, advising us of her situation and asking for some exceptions because of her situation, I don't know of one person in this community that would have objected to helping her and being amenable to her situation. But instead, it's gone way beyond that. And I also think I find a large amount of agreement with Dr. Heeb. I understand where she's coming from. I think our ordinance in regards to poultry or whatever it is much like our national immigration policy. It's unworkable and unenforceable. But there, you go down the road of granting one exception, and then another person says, "Well, why wasn't I given an exception?" And I don't have an answer for that, but I do think that it's something, like Mayor Fauch says, that needs to be further discussed, resolved, and clarified. The last thing I'd like to say is that I do disagree with Councilman Johnson and Councilman Clark in regards to the employee raises being included in the discussion on Ms. Schroeder's situation. I do think that the performance of our city employees is mutually exclusive of Ms. Schroeder's situation. And I find their comments to be inappropriate. I think the job that our city employees do has nothing to do with the disagreement that the council and the citizens have in regards to Ms. Schroeder's situation. And I think you're penalizing them unnecessarily and attempting to hold a club over the city council and the mayor by saying, well, if you give us our way on Ms. Schroeder, we'll give you your way on the city employee raises. And I just think that's wrong. Thank you.
business owner. Oh, wait a minute.
Neil Canals, business owner, former Logan resident, still live in the area. I love this town. I'm giving you my opinion. I think it'd be a great idea to give a little moratorium and work up some kind of an ordinance to let people have a few chickens in Logan. We all need to be friends. We all need to get along. We might all need each other someday here. As a business owner, I see the cost of things raising. As an employee, you have a fixed amount of income, and it's hard to get any more income than that. In my business, I'd be really happy if I could hold my cost increases to 3% a year. So a 3% a year raise to a guy on a salary, I don't feel is exorbitant. I feel that's at least a fair, compassionate amount of money to give a man who's given the city his time. At least as an outside observer, that's how I see things.
Nikki Allen, my business is 311 East 7th, and I just wanted to talk actually, I feel like I'm talking on behalf of the employees, but that's probably because that's what I do for my job. As a business owner myself, we average anywhere from 20 to 100 employees a year. I know Mike, you have quite a few people that work under you also. And when you get good employees, you really want to keep them. I don't know if you guys have been through the cycle of having employees that are not up to your standards, but you have excellent employees and you really need to put forth the effort to do your own homework and get the evaluations that you were missing or the information yourself that you were missing, because it's not fair to your employees to just deny them. You're not denying them their raise, but it's not fair to postpone them because you have other issues. I would never do that to one of my employees. We do all of our stuff individually, which is a little bit different than what the city does, but I do know in the years of having my own business and Midwest Mechanical that if you have good employees, you want to keep them and you need to treat them right.
There's no other comments, we'll go back to agenda item number 4. If you had a chance to review.
In one of the items, going through our payments for this month, is Aaron Rodenberg's bill for May 20th. Well, that's not, so it's either May 20th, April 5th here. There's a stack of that date. The final one seems to be on the April 5th item. Mike, you have on there, do not pay for Mike Fouch, 513.13. You've got a couple items for 75, one for 75, one for 45. Basically saying not to pay, and you've readjusted this bill from 1880 down to 1760.
We did go ahead and pay those two after talking with her. We didn't on that one.
I see a check for 1335.
I did have a question on those two
Okay.
items. I thought that we had gotten those resolved. Marilyn just corrected it and said we haven't. And so you and I can talk and then we can talk with her.
So you haven't got them resolved in your mind? You still have an issue with them?
Well, yeah, I don't know exactly which ones those are. So
trying to find the matching check number for that, and I don't.
That was paid last month, this particular invoice. The reason it's there is because of the way he does his,
I know it's their flight dated.
because he says we still owe $18.80, and I showed that we paid $17.60 on it. I included that invoice for that information. This invoice has been paid short, these two items. There was another one,
So 45, and what was it, what were the two amounts?
45 and 75.
Is that included on the stuff on front then?
Added to
Bill?
the,
Yeah, added to, sorry, that added to the,
No,
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 we have
it's
not,
this bill right here is $585, right there.
correct?
And that's what was paid. This one was just included, attached. It has been paid short because of that amount right there.
Which is at 1760, I can see from here.
Yeah, it says 1880 is our balance, 1760 was what was paid. There's more bills in there.
Second set.
There's two or three of them.
And again, they were defined, like we paid all those, this is my budget.
That was paid last month. Short, those two of them.
Okay, so my question, these two amounts. Now we're paying these amounts.
I'm fine paying those 12 bucks.
Look at that.
I had a question on those, but I've got my answer.
Can I see other bills on here? If he resubmits, take it off of that one, and resubmits, that's fine.
We'll have to resubmit those two.
Did we have a motion? Was mine second? I can't remember. We can start over again on that.
We're going to start over. I don't remember. Let's just start over. I don't think we had a motion on that the second. We brought it back up the second.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, including the claim register and cash report. And we'll get with Aaron regarding those two items to make sure they're paid in the next billing cycle.
I'll second the motion.
Any further comments or questions? Councilmember LaFever.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Crum.
Aye.
And I approve as well too. Agenda item number 17, need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Councilmember LaFever.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye.
Johnson. Crum.
Aye.
And I approve as well. Meeting adjourned.